it doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be like objectively good, at least. It doesn't have to be like polished or super clean.
Rough sketch.
Exactly.
What do you need to be happy?
Personally, I don't know, like my cat, some good food, TV. I'm happy.
That's good.
Yeah.
And good music.
Definitely.
That's
good
for
music,
the
of
weekend.
course. Yeah. That's always the best.
How old were you?
When I got into techno?
Yeah.
Probably around 13, 14.
Oh, so that's early.
Yeah.
And you're 19 now.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So nice to have you.
Yeah. Happy to be here.
So you are from?
I'm from Texas, Dallas specifically.
Represent.
Sorry? Represent, yeah. I guess so.
How is the scene there?
In Dallas, I mean, there's some cool collectives and stuff, pushing stuff, but it's really not like a city that's friendly in terms of nightlife and stuff. You go there to raise a family. There's a lot of suburban sprawl, a lot of houses and stuff. We have like a few like clubs like doing things every now and then, but I am hopeful that it will get better in the future, but at the moment it is a little bit dry, to be honest. But yeah,
you're the next generation. You're gonna make it happen.
Definitely, yeah. It's definitely a big goal of mine to eventually one day get back there and do something meaningful there for sure.
What would it be?
I don't know, maybe something along the lines of like opening a club or something. I think it could be cool. I mean, I've always had this idea of a club. I mean, it's nothing new, but something that we don't see these days is like a club where it's just one DJ the whole night, where they can just really be in their element, take you on a journey, because I am a little bit fed up with this oversaturation of DJs, especially in America, like trying to fit in as many as you can on like one lineup, whereas you have some DJs even playing for like 45 minutes, which is way too short. Like you need that time to really get comfortable in the booth and stuff like that. So yeah, that's something that I would maybe like to do in the future. So we'll see.
What are the clubs close in Dallas?
Everywhere closes at like 2 a.m. because you can't sell liquor after that. So,
yeah. But technically, if you don't sell, you can still stay open.
Technically, but then also a lot of people won't stay.
Yeah.
And also a lot of companies won't be willing to stay open because they're not making sales.
Of course.
So, like, I feel like that's another drawback. Yeah. And then the only other people you have there are like people doing it illegally. And those happen very rarely because the cops there are pretty militant, at least from what I've experienced. Yeah.
So you're touring a lot?
Yeah, it's kind of taken off in the last year or so. So I've been on the road quite a bit. Yeah.
That's good. India?
Yeah, I've been to India like 3 times in the past 2 years, which is more than I've ever been in like the past. But it's also nice to go there and, you know, reconnect with that part of me, like my Indian heritage and everything, and also see how the scene's growing out there. There's some really talented producers, and it's nice. I definitely see it in like the very early like growth stages, and I'm very grateful to have been able to experience it. Yeah,
so we have a pretty big part of our community is based there. Right. So it's so nice, like also to welcome you on the show. We had Anil Amotik last year, and yeah, you released on this label.
Yeah, I think it was last year in September when that record came out. Yeah,
exactly. Amotik, AMTK, which one was it? Third one. Yeah. Third one. Yeah. The pink label, I remember.
For sure.
A very good EP, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. And Camellia also killed it on the A side.
Yes.
Really good tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. What did you play in Europe lately?
This time it was more of a stopover on the way back. I was just in India for the past 2 months, and I have 2 shows here. I have one here in Berlin on Saturday, and then I'm playing again in Madrid in 2 weeks. And then after that, I'm back home in the US for a bit, just because I think since November, I haven't really been in the US much. Like I was there for a little bit in December for some shows, but it was India in November, and then back to India in January, or in February and March, and then I've been here for all of April. So I'm excited to go spend a little bit of time at home.
How is it to travel with such a young age?
I mean, I love it, and I can't complain. Like, there is like the getting tired and having back pain, you know, all that stuff, but definitely like something I'm willing to put up with just for all these experiences. I mean, I'm not going to say it's been amazing. Like, everyone knows traveling can always suck, you know, dealing with airlines, delays, like baggage, all that stuff. But you know, it's always been great, like for the most part. And even the bad stuff, I feel like I learned from it. So you know, I can't complain really.
You've put the work in, and now it pays off.
Yeah, definitely.
What's next?
Mainly playing some more shows in the US this year. A lot of music on the way. I just released my new album last week, which just came out. It was my first like double vinyl record, which was like a big goal of mine. So that happened. And then I have another album coming out on a pretty nice label later this year, which I can't share too much information on yet. And then also me and my friend Jay, we run our label Toca. So we're planning the next release for that soon because we just launched it last year and our first release was out in July. So those are kind of two like projects that we're working on now, and then a lot of VA compilations, remixes, all that stuff always coming out. But yeah, just, you know, trying to keep the momentum going. Yeah,
busy.
For sure.
Nice. What do you do in your private life when you have time? If you take the time to do things for yourself?
Yeah, I mean,
music.
Yeah, at this point, like it's all just kind of blurred together. Like it's very hard for me to turn the music off, but when I do, it's, you know, spend time with friends and family. I love hanging out with my cats. I mean, my favorite pastime is honestly just to like eat popcorn on the couch and hang out with my cats and watch TV. So like if I'm not doing music, that's probably where you'll find me, like just eating junk food and watching
and enjoying
TV.
life.
Yeah.
What do you watch?
A lot of cartoons. If you ever watch like Regular Show, it's like one of my favorites.
Oh, I don't know it, no.
It was like, it's kind of like stoner comedy, but they made it for kids. And so like I grew up watching that, and I'll just rewatch episodes all the time. Family Guy too, like, you know, just dumb stuff like that. Yeah.
The Sunday hangover stuff.
Exactly. And it's just nice to throw on and, you know, just veg out on the couch. Yeah. Yeah. Outside of that, I guess like I've gotten a little bit into like beach volleyball, but only when I have enough people to play with and stuff. That's always been fun. And yeah, that's pretty much all I do.
Let's put a team together.
Yeah, we got to do it. There is a volleyball court here in Berlin that I found like the first time I ever came here. I think it's in Kreuzberg or something. And I was like, I need to go check this out because I've never seen like a place dedicated just for volleyball, like ever.
There's a pretty big one outside in on the Volkspark in Friedrichshain. We can go one day.
Right.
If you want to join the team.
Yeah. We got to do it for sure.
Spirituality plays a huge role in your personality.
Yeah. It definitely does. I mean, I always kind of grew up in a Hindu household. Like my parents would always do like the religious like functions and stuff like that. And, you know, I didn't pay no mind to it like as a kid. And they never really forced me to like sit there and like strictly practice it either. And so, you know, it's just something like nice for me to appreciate. And I think they also did it more because leaving India, they maybe wanted to be more connected to their culture, even though they're outside of the country. And so it was nice for me to have that growing up, and I never really like thought too much about it. Mm-hmm. But then as I got older, I kind of like, especially as I started getting into techno and you know how it's very futuristic and like sci-fi in nature, I started realizing that like some of these like Hindu like philosophies and concepts were already super like futuristic and scientific in nature and stuff. And like once I made that connection, I was like, whoa, like this is like a whole like realm of like information that I've never like tapped into. And once I started like rabbit holing into that, I also found like the actual like benefits you can have in real life, like meditation and deep breathing and stuff like that. And yeah, it's been a very important part of my life, and it's also inspired a lot of my music that I've written in the past few years. So yeah, definitely a very, very like grounding part of life for sure.
To establish a solid routine to do that daily.
Solid, I don't know yet, but I mean, I try my best, but with traveling and stuff, I definitely am not as consistent as I should be, but I try my best to like at least do a little bit of deep breathing in the morning when I wake up, stuff like that, a little bit before going to bed, and trying to stay like conscious and mindful of my actions and stuff like that. But I think a little goes a long way. So I definitely want to eventually like get to a point where I can consistently do it and have that discipline like kind of down. But until then, I think like just these little reminders of like staying aware and stuff.
You have time.
Of course.
Take it easy. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Definitely.
What's your creative process?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something I've spent a few years like learning about and refining. But lately it's honestly just been about detaching like from any expectation and kind of like finding yourself in the flow state rather than like chasing it. And I don't know, like it used to be like when I would sit down to make a track, it was like I'm sitting down and I'm working on this track. Whereas nowadays it's like I don't really have any idea like what I'm gonna make. I'll just sit down, I'll like find a preset from like some random synthesizer. I'll just try to keep it very random, limit myself, and then work, like just make a bunch of like random ideas, and then suddenly like I'll hear something, and then when I hear that random thing, it'll click, and then I know what I want to build out of the track. And it's kind of like a very different way from like how you would originally make a track. Most people are like, okay, I need to create the bass line, I need to create this. Whereas this is kind of rather just like filtering through all these like random ideas and like working your way backwards almost, and like taking away things until you have something that you're like really happy with. So it's more of a subtractive way of working, but I found it to be very like productive, and I can just get my ideas down fast because also personally, and everyone has their own like creative ideas and stuff, but my favorite way of working is just getting ideas down fast. I don't like to ruminate on ideas for too long, because then for me the magic is gone after that. And so
what do? You write it down immediately, or you produce directly? How
just getting something down. Like it doesn't have to be good, it doesn't have to be like objectively good, at least it doesn't have to be like polished or super clean,
rough
but
sketch.
Exactly, it's more like gesture sketches and stuff like that. So
do you condition yourself before you start? So like, do you have a kind of ritual to say, okay, I'm sitting down, I'm going to work and create music?
No, never. I mean, it's honestly kind of been like a meditation, almost like a part of my life. Like when I wake up in the morning, like it's just like sitting down and writing something is just a part of my day. It's not like something I have to sit down and dedicate time to do. Or like if I'm doing nothing, if I have free time, I'm not going to go like, sometimes I'll go like chill maybe, but like other times I'm like, I'm not doing anything, might as well write a track, do something. So it's just become like almost like breathing, I guess. Like it's like something that just happens.
You get used to it.
Exactly, yeah. It's like very routine. And
daily?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day. Like if there's a day where I haven't made music, it's either because I didn't have access to a computer.
Yep.
Or I don't know, maybe I'm just really busy or just not in the mood. Like absolutely. Because there are days where you're just not in the mood, but for the most part that doesn't really happen these days.
Do you force yourself to do it? What has happened?
No. I never force myself, because I'm like, if I force myself, then something's wrong, because I shouldn't want to have to force myself. At least that's my thought process these days. Like,
I understand, yeah.
Because I think that whole forcing yourself mindset comes from like finishing tracks. Like I have to write this track, whereas the mindset I've tried to adopt is like, I'm not here to finish a track. I'm just here to like play around in the FL Studio and see what happens. So if you're playing around, it should never feel like forced, right? Like if you're hanging out with a friend, it shouldn't feel like you're forced to hang out with them, right? Like you should do it because you want to.
And when is the moment you decide, okay, it's done, it's going to be released?
I honestly don't. Like that's why I really like releasing on other labels, because for me, like when I think a track is finished, I'm like, yeah, the main idea is there. Like I don't need to add, like if I want to, I could go add this tiny little detail here and there, but like the general theme of the track is there, and that's when I'll just like leave it as a demo, and then I'll ship it out to labels, and I'm like, it's yours to decide if you want to release it or not. And then some tracks are different, they're very special to me, and those ones I'll be like, okay, these I need to save for a release.
Polished, yeah.
Exactly, but for the most part, it's again like it's just a rough sketch. Like nothing is like super polished, super finalized, but then like I'll send it out to friends, labels, DJs, hear what they think, and then they'll usually have some kind of feedback like, oh, like this one really worked well on the dance floor, or this one works really well with this EP, let's put it out. And then from there, maybe I'll go polish it if they want. But yeah, that's kind of more of my way of working. Yeah.
And also during the production, do you ask your friends and other producers their opinion about your sound?
Never.
Okay.
That I am a very big believer in not doing, because I feel like creative fields where you're trying to build your own sound, if you ask for other people's input, maybe it could be helpful, but it's not going to be your creative intuition that's fueling the track. And something that someone else doesn't like that you really like may get omitted from that track, because
I agree.
Yeah. So I really think it's good, even if it sounds wrong, or like it doesn't, or you you EQ something in a weird way. Yeah, exactly. Just do it, even if it feels wrong. Just do it because it feels right to you. And I think you carve your own like sound and your own authentic like creative voice in that way. And I think that's a lot more important than having the perfect mix down, you know, like stuff like that.
And once it's released, do you ask for feedback?
I mean, I don't mind. I'll share with my friends. I love sharing my music because I also believe like everyone's entitled to their opinion, and one person's opinion doesn't have to mean your opinion should change. So I'm very happy to like share with my friends, hear what they think, and even if they don't like it, I mean, I'm glad that they don't like it because I don't think everyone should like your art. Like
I love this whole productivity and like production process. I've been looking forward to get mine at the level I'm at right now for years, and I'm finally happy because after 3.5 years, especially during Corona, it was like so tough just like to relearn how to draw as a tattoo artist and like to redo like what I was learning and to do all this stuff. And the process of that's why I asked before, like the conditioning questions. Like for me, I created playlists and I know, okay, if I feel that way or that way, I have this or this playlist and this works. Because like immediately, okay, put my earphones or like music and then I work.
Yeah,
I know. And then, okay, I feel also, okay, I've done enough for today. And I kind of can close my iPad or stop drawing. But then I do the project. So it's like kind of never ending story.
Definitely.
How did your friendships evolve over the last years?
Friendships like in the scene or just in general?
In general, because like you've created new ones with the scene, obviously. This is how we got in touch, for example. But also like from home, India, it must be so much happening.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, because again, like music has just become my life. I mean, most of my friends are just through music anyways. And there's so many amazing people in the scene too. I mean, and I feel like this music really does attract like-minded people and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say like 99% of my friends are through the music scene anyways. And it's very much like a nice thing because wherever city I go, there's always a friend there to, you know, hang out with and stuff like that. So it's definitely changed that way, but it was always like that. Like even when I was younger, I would always be on like Skype group chats or like Discord groups with like other people. So I've always kind of been used to having this like internet community of friends. I mean, I've also have like my high school friends and stuff who I keep in touch with, and anytime I'm back home, I love hanging out with them and stuff. But yeah, for the most part, it's like most of my friends are all living in the digital world. Yeah, and then whenever I go to a city, I hang out with them.
And how is it not to have this proximity of these people all the time?
I feel like it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because, you know, anywhere you go, you never truly feel alone. You know, you have someone to hang out with and, you know, exchange ideas. And it's extra special when you get to see them because you never see them that often. But then on the sadder side, it's like you, again, only get to see them so often. So it's a kind of a bittersweet thing, I guess. But, you know, I'm very grateful. And with Instagram, you can always keep in touch with people. So it's not like they're ever really gone. So
plus follow what they do for the stories.
Exactly, yeah. So
and the post.
I mean, we're all living online anyways, so you're really like kind of always in touch with them.
Yeah. What do you think about this whole Instagram thing and like this digital life we do all have?
Right. I mean, I grew up with social media, like pretty much. I think Instagram came out in 2012. So I was 8, yeah. So like more than half my life, like I've known about social media and stuff. And it's given me a lot of opportunities. Like I wouldn't have had half the things I've had in my musical career so far if it wasn't for the internet and social media and connecting with people online. Like even you, like last year, I only met you through Instagram and this was our first time meeting in person. So
and here we are.
Exactly. So it's done a lot of things for me. And, you know, like everything that is good in life, there are going to be drawbacks. Like I'm not a fan of how people are getting booked based on how many followers they have because promoters think like that's the only merit of selling tickets, you know, things like that. So I do wish that would change a little and they would focus back more on like artists that are pushing a big sound and like artists that have a creative voice. But I think eventually people will see through the mirage and people will come to their senses and start figuring out like what's real and authentic, because I think authenticity sticks through like every hype, every trend, you know.
On the long term, yeah. The future classics.
Exactly.
What do you think the scene is heading to? these days?
It's definitely going like that faster, like almost, I want to say like EDM sound, but again, like that's also just another cycle thing. Like I remember like on YouTube and stuff, you'll see like all the 90s tracks, like the 90s techno. It's just like a revival of that, and every like 10 years it switches, like because then the early 2000s was like the minimal era, but then the 2010s was like the deeper like proper techno era, and now we're going back to fast, and then maybe in another 10 years we'll do another minimal era, you know. So I think it'll just keep like going like a cycle or something, and with each cycle there will be little changes because it's obviously newer people doing new things, but I'm not really like pessimistic about it because everything comes and goes, and it's just, I think it's fun to ride the wave and see where it takes you. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
And there is space for everyone.
Exactly, yeah. There's always going to be people doing cool things throughout all the hypes and throughout all the scenes. So yeah, it's just I think it's like you'll find the artists that have the same values as you, and
you're pretty young.
Yeah.
But that's a huge advantage nowadays.
Right. I mean, it's a good thing and a bad thing. Like everything, I guess I've been saying. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to be able to be this young and, you know, learn from a lot of people who are older than me and, you know, learn from their mistakes, but also, you know, take their advice. And they've been a lot of help.
Yeah.
It kind of like almost like mentors in a way. But at the same time, and this is something I've come to realize more recently, is that it has been very isolating because I think I was in India like a month ago when I kind of realized this, and I was like, I haven't talked to a single person my age in like 2 months or something, because like school kind of kept me tethered to like kids my age, but then once that was gone, it was just like I kind of like left the reality of like I don't even know like what's happening in that world of like kids my age. And it's also like my fault because I could make the effort to go make friends my age and stuff, but I think once this music thing's to happen, I just like tunnel visioned, and then, you know, there's how many like 19-year-olds are you going to find?
There you go. I mean, you can be super proud about you, and like that was super brave.
Right.
I mean, to do what you're doing at your age, there's not many people doing that. Like honestly, it's very, very impressive.
For sure. Thank you.
No, that's so cool. Where do you see yourself like in 5 or 10 years?
I hope to be doing this too. Like I know not everyone prefers this lifestyle, but I really do want to be a DJ who plays 3 times a weekend and releases multiple albums a year. Like, I just love the creative process, and I love sharing music. It's not even from I want to like be a rock star, like tour the world, but I just, that feeling of sharing music on the dance floor and seeing people react to it in a very authentic way.
The very best, no?
It's like something that fulfills me that nothing else can ever fulfill me on another level. So yeah, at least for the next 10 years, that would be an amazing thing to be able to do. So
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. We'll see.
Yeah, but that's going to happen. I mean, like, yeah, knowing you, what you're doing, and it's just a question of time. Stay consistent.
Of course.
Meditate.
That's always the best, yeah.
That helps. I just like to clear your mind, and the briefing thing. Like, I've meditated, like, been meditating for years now, but like the briefing thing, we need to talk about it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What other things are you doing to keep yourself a clear mind and to stay healthy?
I've started reading books again because, as you know, like I think there was like some statistics somewhere that like 30% of like kids my age haven't read a book in like 5 years or something, and we're like too young to not even have read something for like 5 years.
Yeah.
And also like sometimes after I'm like scrolling like Instagram reels for an hour, like I can feel the brain rot and stuff like that. I'm like, I need like, it's like, they say it's like a mental diet thing or whatever, like what you consume.
Go slower.
Exactly. So I've started to like, I've picked up a few books on like Eastern philosophy and stuff.
Okay.
It's kind of been a growing interest of mine, and it also really inspires like a lot of the music I make. Yep. So I started to like dabble into that. I'm still not reading as much as I should, but definitely something that has been helping me, you know, be a little more aware and, you know, stay calm. And
what books helped lately?
There's this one about this Hindu sage named Adi Shankaracharya, and he was a proponent of like non-dualistic universal like theories and stuff. So I've started reading his stuff, and it's kind of given me some clarity about like how everything in the material world is like, it's not permanent and stuff like that. So
that's to understand that. That's pretty fucked up, especially in the society and world we live in right now.
Definitely, yeah. So But it definitely kind of allowed me to like take a step back and view the world from a different perspective and through a new lens. And it honestly is very refreshing because I feel like also my generation, and me included, is like a generation of overthinkers because we have all this like information. So we're just
constant comparison.
Thinking, anxiety. Like I've never seen a group of kids like as anxious in history as like kids our age now. And so like this kind of Eastern philosophy that I've been like looking into has helped me kind of realize like, you know, the world isn't so bad, especially here in the West, you know. So
we get pushed in this kind of, we think we need everything, but we don't.
Right.
And that's fucked up.
Yeah, definitely. It's all like, especially like capitalism, I guess, for lack of a better word, pushes us and pushes more so our ego to like tell us we need all these things. And when you realize that the things you actually truly need in life are very little, it allows you to kind of calm down and realize like, you know, everything isn't so bad, and you can stop and smell the roses, I guess.
Buddy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.